Yes,
Okay.
yes, we do.
That's how it works.
Hello, hello. Oh,
Hi.
hello, everyone. Welcome.
Start on Instagram. Hi, Instagram.
All right, and YouTube,
Hi,
welcome,
YouTube.
welcome to what day is it today? Monday night
Monday night.
or something like that.
Welcome, friends.
Welcome, friends, to our live. I am Matthew.
I'm
It's
Christina.
Christina's figuring out Instagram. Hello,
Yeah,
Instagram.
This is the first time
Here.
we've scheduled a
Let's
post
see.
on Instagram.
Can I move you so that you go there? Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, Instagram! Yay,
All
you
right.
worked.
Awesome. How is everyone doing? And let us know where you are joining from.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Mhm.
Mondays are the best days.
Monday.
Prove
the
me
fun
wrong. Change
Hi,
my
Martha,
mind.
just change my mind.
Let's see.
Hi.
Yes. So, where are you guys all joining from?
Lorelai.
We are talking.
Lorelai. Oh, Lorelai.
We are
okay.
talking about
Hi, Stacey.
motivation. So
Hi,
shoot in the comments.
Hey.
Shoot in the comments. What are your favorite motivation techniques? We will discuss them.
Yeah, people are saying this is exactly what I'm going through right now.
All right.
So there you
Awesome.
go. Lack of motivation. Santa
Lack
Rosa,
of motivation.
Minnesota, Texas,
What do you
California.
do? What do you do?
I should say California, Miss Congeniality. California, right? No? Have you ever seen that movie?
Of course I've seen that
Actually?
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some things just stick with you, you know? See, you
What's
guys
your
know
ideal date?
I'm not so good with pop culture and movies, as we learned last week when I was trying to remember that silly little show. I can't remember things. I don't know
what
pop
do we
culture
see? How do
very
you
good.
stay motivated when a teacher is bullying you? Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah. British Columbia.
Go ahead.
Welcome, Canada. Thailand. Hello.
All right. I think we have a
That's-
winner so far. Thailand. Can anyone beat Thailand?
I think
Hi,
so.
I'm in Alabama. Thailand's a little further away in comparison to us, but welcome from Alabama as well.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure
What
I
do you-
didn't miss
are
any
you
places. Okay.
checking it out?
No
All right.
locations
BC
missed.
of Canada.
Yeah, the Canada. Hey, Canada, do people call it Canada, or is that just people in America
that just me?
call it?
I also call you guys
Germany!
America's hat. But, it's all right.
That is funny. We are in the U.S. That would be cool if we, you know what? We could do international lives. Wouldn't that be so cool if we could go to Canada and Australia and Thailand and we could do a live from Thailand? That would be so cool.
That would be pretty cool.
The Philippines.
My peeps.
That would be really fun. So, what problems? Let's start with problems. What problems do we have with motivation, friends?
Yes, and welcome to the Nursing School show.
Only in America. That's funny. Okay, so nobody in Canada says that. Okay. Sorry, should I stop saying that? Is that not bad? I think it's kind of cute. I think it's kind of cute.
We're talking about motivation, which is a good topic for a Monday. Everyone getting started for their week. So go ahead and shoot in the comments. Are you motivated? Have you been losing motivation? What is causing this? And what are your favorite motivation tips and tricks and techniques? We'll talk through it.
Not much motivation sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Currently my last semester, so I guess the problem is burnout.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so where are you guys at in your relation to your program? Are you just starting your nursing program? Are you almost done with your nursing program, or where are you at also in your term? So, I was kind of thinking today, so January, I know a lot of our members, right, are kind of middle of their term. So, most people start in January, January, what was it this year, 12th or something, the second week of January. Most of our members started nursing school that second week of January, and then, depending on if you're on a quarter school or a semester school or a trimester school or however long your terms are, are you in the middle of your term or did you just start? Because there are also those schools that we were just talking about a couple weeks ago on a live that have January off. So if you have January off, then you're like just starting your term. You know, you come like the first week of February or something is when it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Alta, last semester.
I am in my last semester. Okay, so a couple last semesters.
Yeah.
Congrats and welcome.
Currently my last semester. So yeah, oh wow, several of you in your last semester. Wow, both on YouTube and on Instagram. My.
So is that a thing? Is burnout a thing during the last semester as part of the motivation drop, or is that or is it the other way around, whereas like it's your final semester all pumped up and ready to take the NCLEX?
You're like, I am so done with this.
I am so done. Let's do it. And like
you find the energy at that last, final push.
Losing motivation, too much research. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Very cool.
Losing motivation.
Yeah. And tests. So just it's gone on so long and I just want to be over. But
just so done.
But yeah, I'm just so done. But I am not motivated.
You can find that little piece of energy deep within you to keep going. So I was 120 hours away from graduating, but ended up withdrawing. Oh, was it because of lack of motivation and burnout? I'm curious now. Or was it other things? So I think, okay, jam with me here, friends. I just want to talk through this because my opinion, I think that there's kind of two parts to motivation. I was thinking about this. So
hold on. Before we do that, I do want to jump in and ask you your experience. Since we have a lot of people in last semester, what was your experience when you were in last semester? Did you have the lack of motivation, or did you go the other way and get pumped up?
I was pregnant. I was like,
well,
really
that's another
pregnant.
thing. That's whole other can of worms.
I think I was just tired. I was in the preceptorship kind of what some schools call like capstone. Your last terms, and so that was a lot of hours, and I was like, we were due like right after I graduated, so that was I was like really pregnant, a lot of hours at clinical, trying to I think I was just tired, but I think like for me personally, I am very, very good at just finding whatever's left. Would you agree with this? Like I just have energy.
That is very true.
I don't like that. Just doesn't like I can find it. It doesn't matter what's going on. I can find. I can
dig deep.
I can dig deep and find it, and you would never know that I was super exhausted.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I was just curious because we do have a lot of people in the last semester, so wondering what your personal opinion of that was.
Yeah, I mean, the last semester is tough, right? So, y'all, a lot of you guys are in your last semester. So, what are you doing right now in your last semester? Like, what is going on? Are you in your capstone? Are you doing a ton of clinical hours? Are you, what's going on? Tell me all the details. Do people say deets anymore?
Deets?
Tell me all the deets.
Probably. It's shorter. Anything that's shorter.
Tell me all the deets.
Yeah. Kamala.
The details.
Kamala. Pumped up one day, motivated the next, tired and overloaded the next. Yeah, so it kind of switches off day in, day out. So yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's also like, okay, if you have an exam tomorrow, you're going to be, hyped up and a little more stressed. And then the day after the exam, you're like, oh, okay, kind of settle back in. It does kind of ebb and flow depending on what is going on, right? Mm-hmm. Like you always kind of have this, I think in nursing school, we just get used to this new level of baseline stress, or baseline, maybe I don't say stress because some people are not stressed in nursing school. Maybe I should say baseline, like you've elevated your baseline mental activity. Mm-hmm. That is probably more accurate because there's just a lot of things to be thinking about and doing. Thanks for all the hearts on Instagram. Super appreciate that.
Loves the hearts.
I really love the hearts, especially if they're the ones they go all the time.
YouTube, get on that.
Yeah.
Shoot up some emojis. Because of the lack of hearts.
Give us emojis and likes on YouTube. Like this video if you like this video on YouTube. Because, YouTube should really have the hearts. Man, Man, awesome.
All right, so sorry about that, but jumping back to your
Hi,
discussion
Anita.
on...
So good to see you, Red. I missed you. Okay, sorry, that was a sidestep. Two parts of motivation, I think. That I just, like I said, okay, talk through this with me, okay? I think that there is one type of, I don't like that word energy, but like a type of like feeling that you have where you can push through it. So like I was saying before, like you can find it within you to stay motivated. And then there's also the time where you are motivated and almost like burned out, and you actually have to stop and take a break. So there's like those two kind of parts, right? Would you guys agree with that? That there's like kind of those two parts. You can either you're either experiencing a lack of motivation because maybe you're just stressed in your mind, but you can push past it. Or is it a lack of motivation because you are physically exhausted, mentally exhausted? You have like been through the ringer, right? And now it's just time to step back and take a break. Does that make sense? Would you guys think, like, is there any other aspect to motivation? Because I think those are kind of the two types of times where you would have to find the motivation to keep going or to take a break, I guess. Danny, you say consistency. Yeah, I think, that's a really good point, Danny. I think we can get burned out when we are on this roller coaster. And nursing school is often considered a roller coaster, right? It's a roller coaster ride. You're like high here, then you're low, then like you're stressed for your exam. So you're like feeling not so good, but then you get to your exam and you do really well, so you're, emotionally pumped about it, and then something else happens at clinical and you're like, oh, this is why am I here? Like, this stinks and I want to quit and all this. So it just keeps going on that roller coaster. So Danny, I think that's a really good point to stay like motivated and have be a little more resistant to burnout and preventing burnout, maintaining kind of consistency in your emotional state can be very helpful. And consistency probably with your schedule too, because if everything's erratic in your life, like nursing school is pretty erratic. I've never thought about it this way before, but let's talk through this. I think this could be a really good, helpful point. Is nursing school is unpredictable. You're not in control of that. And so if you can control other aspects of your life as much as possible, that will help. So you can't control where your clinical is going to be next term, or, what patients you're going to have next week at clinical. You can't control, like someone was saying earlier, nursing instructors, you can't control their behavior, or, what assignments you get, or how many care plans you have due this week. You can't control that stuff. But Danny, I think you make a really good point with consistency that even though nursing school is erratic, you can still control and maintain consistency in your life by keeping the other things consistent. Control what you can control. You can control kind of your home environment, right? You can, get help with chores around the house, or, cooking meals or stuff, like, things with your kids, control what you can, what you have control over. Does that make sense? Danny, I don't know if that's where you were going with the consistency thing, but that's what I was thinking about. I hope that was helpful. But Danny, let me know. I'm curious what your thoughts are with consistency, because I actually really, really like that. I think that idea was really helpful.
So I'm going to jam a little bit on that, and really 3 parts that I wanted to jam on. One, what you're talking about, stress. So step 1, stress, and how to deal with stress. 2, willpower. So willpower and motivation are very closely related. So I want to jam on willpower. Yeah. And number 3 is an anchor. So on Instagram, my faith in God keeps me motivated. So having that anchor, that why, or having that emotional drive that's bigger than yourself is really important. So I'll touch a bit more on that after everything, but just wanted to touch on that really having an anchor and really that driving force behind you, and it has to be bigger than yourself, and it usually has to be very emotional. So that really helps a lot. So going back, stress, what you were talking about, really the baseline of it is getting to know who you are and getting in touch with yourself. It may be a little touchy feely, but really understanding how you feel in situations. And I mean,
how do you respond to situations and things?
Yeah. Stress. I mean, we all say stress, right? But really, there's really the 2 kinds of stress. There's the distress, and there's the eustress. And understanding the difference between that, and knowing how much stress is actually good for you. It's actually motivating you, it's pushing you towards something that you know is a little hard, but you can overcome it, right? That's the eustress. Whereas the distress is that burnout feeling, when you know that, you know what, there's something more going on. There's a couple situations that were thrown out in the comments. You know that there's something more that you need to take a step back. That this isn't something that you can just grind through. And really knowing the difference between those 2 states is really, really key, is really just getting to know yourself and getting to know how you interact with these things. And I mean, there's a lot of people in the last semester of nursing school, so you've had all of nursing school to kind of know yourself, know thyself. But that's really it, is really understanding the different kinds of stress and understanding whether it's something to push through or whether it's something that you need help with. And it's fine if you need help. It is okay.
Totally fine.
And that goes back to the third thing, the anchor, and getting something above and beyond yourself to help you through things sometimes, or others to help you through.
Before you jam on that,
all right,
you don't know that you just opened a big can of worms right there with the whole de-stress and eustress. How many of you have had nursing instructors tell you about those 2 types of stress? And then they're like, oh no, nursing school is just all eustress. It's a positive kind of stress. I've got to tell you, it was like the first term of nursing school, and our instructors kept telling us, no, this isn't the bad kind of stress. This is the good kind of stress. And we're like, this is the bad kind of stress. I don't know what you're talking about. We're like frazzled, and nursing school is the worst. Oh man, I gotta tell you, that was rough. So
yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you if you're in eustress when you're really in de-stress.
Yeah, that's true too.
Know thyself.
A lot of it is you also. So you need to
you as in Y-O-U, not E-U.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Eustress. Eustress. E-U, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fun.
So, that is very true.
Riddle
is
me
that
this.
No one can tell you where you're at. You need to tell yourself that and understand where to go from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
no one can tell you. Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. You have to know yourself and know how you respond too, so that you can kind of preempt it. Is that a good way of putting that? Okay, I've got to tell you, I was gonna write a whole Instagram post about this. Maybe I'll do a YouTube video about it, of things that I learned in nursing school that had nothing to do with nursing. There are a lot. And I think one of the biggest is how do I respond under pressure, under stress, and then what did I learn? Like, I am not literally, I mean, you know the most, because we were married, before I went to nursing school, and, so you've seen kind of the whole thing, but I don't think I'm the same person as I was, before nursing school, because you learn how to cope better, hopefully better. I think I learned how to cope better than when, I remember feeling stressed in fundamentals and stuff. You probably have a different perspective because you were seeing it, outside of me, you were getting that external perspective, but you're not the same person as going into nursing school as to when you graduate, because you do learn those things. You do learn the de-stress, eustress. You do learn how you cope and what how you respond to those certain situations, and okay, so I responded this way here, how can I respond better next time, kind of thing. You're constantly learning and adapting and trying to get better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's something we'll circle back on after these other topics. Is definitely once you get to that point where it is either eustress or distress, how do you cope? What are the ways to cope with that to recharge your batteries? So that goes into my second part is willpower.
I literally have a battery
and
just throwing that out there. For any of you who don't know, I have a pacemaker. Pacemaker jokes. Sorry.
Thank you.
That's funny.
Willpower is a lot of times really closely related to this idea of motivation and momentum. Actually, is another term. Kind of all go together. But willpower is really an important topic to cover regarding motivation. And so how I like to think about it is going back to consistency, going back to Danny's consistency, and going back to what we were talking about is controlling what you can control. Is really willpower is exactly that. It is a battery. Willpower is your tank of gas. And throughout the day, every decision that you make uses up a little bit of that battery, a little bit of your gas tank, depending on how much energy you need to make those decisions determines how much willpower or how much of your battery you look up or you use up, right? So if you can automate, or if you can make decisions beforehand or get everything in order, keep your desk clean so you know how you study, where you study, you know your schedule, your routine, all of this, the more that you can predetermine those actions and make it a lot easier to make decisions, that means that you're going to be burning less willpower. And therefore, you can use more energy to motivate yourself, to push yourself forward when you need to. But if you're wasting time, wasting willpower, deciding what you want for breakfast and what you're going to wear and I don't know what Starbucks you're gonna get, just all these little decisions that you make along the way. Then when you need to make decision that really matters, you're not gonna have that energy left to actually make those decisions. So really, it's using your willpower tank correctly or efficiently so that you can save up that drive to push yourself, even if you're not motivated, to push yourself forward so you still have the energy left to do that.
That's such a great point. You need, it goes back to knowing yourself. How far are you down the empty tank ladder road? Whatever. How full is your tank? And you kind of have to know, you don't want to, okay, so here's a good example. Like, you don't want to keep going and pushing through and pushing through and pushing through that you don't really realize how stressed you are, or how emotional maybe you are, that all of a sudden your spouse comes home and you just snap, and you have like a big fight or something. Like, you don't want that. Like, you need to know yourself and to know, okay, how am I handling this stress? Like, how full is my tank? Kind of like those things.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, you don't want to. You kind of have to know your priorities, I guess. Like,
priorities.
Know
that's another.
yourself.
Yeah, that's another good good term, or another aspect of this conversation is really prioritize what's important.
Angela, you have a really good point. I looked up how to manage stress, and one word that popped up was gratefulness. So gratitude is huge. And so most of our community is Christian. So, a lot of you have mentioned prayer, faith, gratitude. We, wake up every day, it's the whatever you do, work it out with all your heart as working for the Lord and not men. You're always working for God. And so I think that just in and of itself gives us life, so that can really, really help being grateful for what we've been given and moving forward and doing the actions.
Yeah. And then that goes towards my last point of this little journey. The anchor. What is the emotional anchor? What is your why?
Good segue.
What is your why? Why did you get into nursing school? Why do you want to become a nurse? And what is your why? And again, Christian community has that driving force that is inherently above and beyond yourself. But if that's not the case, then what is your anchor that's pushing you forward? What's your community? What's your emotional drive to help you get past that point where there is no motivation? I'm not saying that you have to be motivated 100% of the time. It's just when you feel unmotivated, demotivated.
Unmotivated, demotivated. No, it's unmotivated. Yeah,
unmotivated.
Right? Unmotivated.
When you feel your willpower tank getting low, how do you cope with that? And you go back to the basics. You go back to your starting point. You go back to, okay, why am I doing this? And that goes back to the gratefulness thing. And look how far I've come, and be grateful for where you are at. And you know what? This is an off day. I'm not feeling motivated. Is this something that I can step back from for a little bit? Or is this something that I just need a little bit more willpower to push through it, even though I am not?
Take a little nap?
Yep.
What do you call it? A nappuccino?
A nappuccino?
Is the phrase? Have a little nappuccino? Yeah, some espresso, take a nap, and then right back to it. Or, do you need a longer break?
Yes, or do you need a longer break? And whatever your answer is, be okay with that answer too.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing too, if you beat yourself up about the decision that you do make, and you're like, oh, I really should be doing this, but I'm not going to be doing this. Well, if you know yourself and you've gone through all of this, again, you make your decision and you move forward with it.
And that expels brain power too.
It does.
Like, you can't keep beating yourself up. Like, okay, how many of you guys have taken a nap in the past 2 weeks? Or, well, just ever. Have you taken a nap and then you're like, oh, I really shouldn't be taking a nap because I have so much to do. And then you try to take a nap and it's not a very restful nap. And then you wake up and you're still just as tired because it wasn't productive, but you still wasted all that time. Right? Not efficient. So when we are in that kind of state, it's just not helpful. It does not help us at all. I also wanted to touch on something that you mentioned. I think a very, very common misconception is that motivation is required for action, and it is not.
Yes.
So you do not need to be motivated. I think this is a really big part of our self-care. Okay, you guys, if you guys have been on lives, you know that I'm not, if you're in our membership community, you know that I'm not on the self-care bandwagon. I do not. I think there's a lot of problems with it. So I think this kind of stems from that though, we hear this these cultural this cultural dialogue telling us, well, you have to be motivated in order to do things, or make sure you feel good all the time.
What is your passion?
What's your passion? Do your always feel good. Friends, life is not about feeling good. God did not put us on this earth to feel good all of the time. That is not the point. So we just try our best every single day. We want to get better every single day and take action every single day. So you don't, like, if you are in the camp of like how you're feeling, like Matthew said, know thyself. If you can push past it, push past it. Just you can find it within you. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Do not wait to feel motivated, because you will be waiting forever and ever and ever and ever.
And that's a funny thing too. I don't know if there's any people that are avid exercisers out there, because I'm not.
Not us.
But then you do hear that too, that really, it's really a chicken and egg thing. What comes first, the work or the motivation? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times it's the work that comes first.
And I honestly, I think that's how God designed it. Like, we need to be in action, friends. Like, we need to be in action. To be doing things for doing what we know is right, what we should be doing, and then that is the blessing that follows that. Mm-hmm. Is that motivation, is that connectedness with other people, right? Like Matthew was saying, knowing yourself. So I don't know. Well, I'm glad this was helpful. Yeah. YouTube AG on YouTube. Yeah, you guys are all saying that was helpful. Maybe it's more helpful because it's not really actually this last part of the slide. It's not really a message that you hear all the time. Because I think that's a really, really big lie. We should probably talk about that more. You do not need to be.
Who is doing work only when you feel like it?
Yeah. I start with a list of things to get done, and start one thing.
There you go.
Yes. I mean, that's
sometimes you just gotta push through.
You have to do it. Yes, absolutely, you have to do it. Thanks, Africa. Yes.
And that goes on to probably the next part of this is the momentum.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Momentum. So we talked about motivation. We talk about how sometimes you need to push through it without motivation, and actually that act of pushing through it will get you motivated. Mm-hmm. That action, what you're saying, that action leads to more action. I think that is how it works, and that is pretty much the definition of momentum. Is you need to, once you get moving, it's easier to keep moving. I think that's a physics thing, right? That is definitely a physics thing.
That's what we were talking about last week. Is like with New Year's resolutions, I think we were mentioning it last week. Like how many of us, you start January 1st and you're like, I'm gonna, do this, exercise. I'm gonna run every single day this year, and then you do it for like 6 days or 12 days, and then you take a day off, and then you never pick it back up again because you don't. It's the momentum, right? You have to establish that momentum to keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Africa. That is a lot to go through. So, we have so many of you guys are kind of pouring your hearts out in the comments, both on YouTube and Instagram. So I want to touch on that like it's exactly what Matthew was saying. Like, there are really hard things that we go through in life, right? And so that's what Matthew was saying, is like, know yourself and don't beat yourself up for whatever decision you make. Okay, so like Africa, what you're going through, if you need to take a step back, if that's what you want to do, don't beat yourself up. If you want to keep pushing forward and keep going, great. Don't beat yourself up. Who was it on Instagram too who was just commenting too? I'm not going to scroll up because I can't scroll up too far because the comments get all messed up for some reason on Instagram. I'm sorry. But on Instagram too, same thing. If you whatever difficulty we're going through, just don't beat yourself up based on whatever decision you make. God has blessings regardless. As long as we are doing what we think is right, what we think He would want us to do, that is all that matters.
For sure.
Yeah.
And getting into
our little alarm clock is starting to go off.
Little brass tacks, just really quickly, is AG, you were talking about, it's great that you find this really helpful and that this is snapping you out of it and it really changing your perspective. But also, if you do lose motivation, how do you get it back? And how do you cope with that? And how do you move forward? And again, with momentum, the easiest thing to do is start small and then slowly build up, right? You start off small, you take off little chunks. Someone mentioned making a list and going down that list and then just following that list. Again, trying to simplify your schedule and your life at this point in time so you're not wasting willpower, so that you can use that willpower to push yourself when you don't have motivation. That's fine too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little things like that. So yeah, if you do feel unmotivated and you're done resting and you do need to get back to it, start small, take little chunks, and then as you build up momentum, keep going with it. I'd say that that's probably one of the best things to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Small chunks. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Like little goals, right?
Little goals.
Little goals. I call them fun-sized goals.
Fun-sized goals.
If anyone would like to go back on our blog to like the first blog post I ever wrote, it was all about motivation, and I call them fun-sized goals.
David, the Bible is good. Yes.
The Bible is good.
That's a great recommendation.
That was good. Yes.
David, if you want another book about this, I'd say Take the Stairs.
Oh yeah.
By Rory Vaden.
Yeah.
Take a look at that. That's a really good book. Yeah. So.
And the Bible.
Obviously. Let's see, what else did I want to touch on? Oh yeah, you mentioned a nappuccino.
Yeah.
And that is actually a thing.
We were listening to it on Caleb, right? Because one of the Caleb pastors was talking about it. It's like, oh, is that a really thing? And you were talking about it.
It is really a thing. My friend did a version of it. But basically, what you do when you are ready to rest, if you need some rest, but you know that you need to get right back to work right after you take a nap, what you do is you drink coffee, caffeinated coffee, and then right after that you take a nap. Because actually it takes around 20-ish minutes for caffeine to get through your body. And so what happens is you drink that, you take a nap, and all that caffeine and the rest from the nap hits you when you wake up. And then you go
20-minute nap.
Go back right at it.
Yep. 20-minute nap.
Yeah. So that is
that could be helpful.
That is a thing.
That's what they were saying. It's like 20 minutes. Is that like the ideal nap time? I've heard that. So like 20 minutes is the ideal.
It's just basically one cycle is what you want to do.
Really? Because like I always wake up. If I take a nap, I always wake up in an hour and a half. An hour and a half is like my, I don't know, but maybe I have like, maybe there's like a 20 to 30 minute, first cycle and then the rest. I don't know, but I always find that if I actually go to nap where I don't have a time limit on it, I always wake up in an hour and a half.
That's part of know yourself. I'm sure everyone's nap cycles are different. So test it out, figure out what your cycles are.
Yeah.
And definitely do that. Oh, that's another tangent on motivation and just figuring out yourself and knowing yourself is figuring out when in the day you study best.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
And lean into that for sure.
Yeah. Here's what I would do in nursing school. Is anybody like me? Okay, tell me if you do this too. Several times. I would do this if I had a big research paper, like literally like 15 to 20 page paper due. I would wake up at like 3, 4, 5 a.m. I would do the entire thing in a day. I mean, just start to finish, get it done. Like, do you remember me doing this? Like, I am a very much a like one track. If I have something to do, I am not going to be, flipping back and forth between multiple different things. Actually, this goes back to someone on Instagram asked earlier, and I just saw it very briefly before the comment scrolled up, but someone asked, their program is going from a full, did you see this? A full 16-week program where you have 4 to 5 classes, and then they split it in two. So you have 2 classes for the first half of the semester for the first 8 weeks, then you have 2 classes for the last 8 weeks.
Interesting.
And when I saw that comment, I was like, that works for me, because I am very much like, yeah, giggling girls. Okay. I have done that too. So I think it's just, that would be so helpful for me if I can just have like 1 or 2 classes for like 4 weeks, because I'm focused on just learning that stuff. Like, you don't have to flip back and forth between multiple different topics. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would just literally, like, I would rather batch things together. You know, I would just rather just get it all done. Yeah, secrets to that, if you guys ever notice on our YouTube channel, like, I'm pretty much wearing the same thing for like stretches of videos because I batch them together. So I'll record like 4, 6, 8, 12 videos at a time for YouTube. So I'm like wearing the same thing for weeks and weeks and weeks. But it's how my brain functions. It's how I work. And maybe that doesn't work for some people, but that is how I do it, and it keeps me productive.
Yeah, if that's how that would work for you, then definitely figure out ways to do that. Batching is a really good way, again, to reduce your energy, brain power, so that you can use that later on. Meal planning, meal prep. Cooking a whole bunch at once, and then freezing it, and then cooking, or just heating things up, things like that.
Alarm clock.
Hopefully this helps you guys. If it did, go ahead and shoot up a like, some hearts, subscribe, hit the bell. Let us know if there's any other tips and tricks that you guys have, or any other motivational things that you have. This is a really great community. You guys are awesome in the comments.
Since we're here, and since the baby isn't totally crying yet, I have a really interesting question. This has nothing to do with anything, but because you guys are all here, if you don't mind just answering this question real quick for me. On Instagram, I get a ton of DMs with really great questions that I would like to answer publicly. So I know this is a really weird question, but so I like DM people back their answer, but I was wondering if it would be weird to like screenshot comments. Like, I see people do this a lot on Instagram. Like, people screenshot comments in DMs and then post it to their stories and answer the question publicly. But the issue that I kind of have with that is, like, when someone DMs you, they think it's like a private thing, maybe, and I don't want to breach like a trust thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, if someone DMs me on Instagram, like, would you guys be comfortable with that? Like, if I pull that over to a story and answer it publicly, and also probably answer it in the DM, but answer it like publicly, like maybe get rid of their like profile picture thing, so it's just the comment. I don't know. Would that be weird? That's like a weird question. I'm guessing
that if it's questions that a lot of people have, and I'm sure it is, that would be helpful. Just what would be the best way of doing it?
People say just block out the username. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just didn't want to like breach any trust or anything. I've been seeing people do it a lot though. Like other nurses on Instagram and things. I've been seeing it quite a bit, and I think it's a cool idea if you just like screenshot the DM and then you can answer it publicly in a story. Just like you guys are saying, just I was thinking just like X out the it wouldn't include the name or anything. I just didn't, and obviously I wouldn't like ever post anything that was like a personal anything. If someone DM'd me something like a personal story, so like I wouldn't post that on like, because we get that a lot too. I wouldn't post that on my stories, of course, but like questions, right? If someone's like, hey, how do you study pharmacology, or like I'm struggling with XYZ in med surg, can you help me? Anyway, that had nothing to do with anything. I just figured that I wanted to ask since y'all are here, and I wanted your feedback.
Yeah, block out the name, and those questions will definitely be beneficial.
That's what I was thinking, because we get so many great questions on DMs, and I was like, man, I really want to answer those publicly, but I don't want to like be weird, Anyway, thank you for that. That was very helpful. everyone said it's fine.
All right.
Maybe
Sounds
I'll start
good.
doing that. I'll probably ask about it on my stories too. Actually, I'm gonna ask that right when we're done with here.
Okay.
And my phone's gonna die, and the baby's fussing. So, bye, you guys.
Take care, everyone.
We'll see you next time. Probably tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Tomorrow. Stay tuned for the topic because I don't know what it's gonna be yet.
Let us know if you have a topic.
Yeah, DM me for a topic.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.